मल्लिकार्जुन तू बोलतो ना का तिथलं कसं तू हॉस्टेलला होता का विद्यापीठात होता? तिथे सगळे लोक आले ना, तू आला तेव्हा सगळे लोक आपले निघाले होते का बाकी
निघाले?
Hello, please online जो भी कहीं की audible clear नहीं। गरिमा?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we are starting our session. Good morning. Very warm greetings to each and every one of you. I am Mrs. delighted to be your host for this engaging event. On behalf of the organizing committee, we extend our appreciation for your presence today. It gives me great pleasure to extend a very warm greeting to you for the Agricultural Engineering and Opportunities webinar with the late Dr. A.J. Powar Memorial CAET Alumni Webinar Series. I welcome Honorable Dr. Shahari sir, Associate Dean of our college. I also welcome Professor and heads of all departments, the faculty members. Additionally, I want to extend a warm welcome to our guests, students and alumni who are the heart and soul of this event. We have gathered here today to honor the late Dr. A.J. Powar sir, the renowned founder of the CAET, who was a visionary pioneer. Dr. Powar worked diligently, sometimes sacrificing personal comforts, to create a facility that would serve as a beacon of innovation. All who came into contact with him were inspired by him. In an effort to bridge the gap between the theory and the practice, he embarked on a mission to educate the generations of the students who would not only be the academics but also visionaries with the ability to change the world. Today, we get the opportunity of hearing from our guests who studied agricultural engineering here at the university and have since excelled in their respective fields of the work. During this webinar, our alumni will discuss their experiences, difficulties and victories, giving us priceless insights into the real-world applications of an agricultural engineering degree. We will go into the conversation about the various career options in agricultural engineering and the possibilities for research in this vibrant area. So be prepared to participate in topics that will hopefully promote thoughtful conversation as we move forward. Keep your curiosity alive, your questions ready, and your minds open to the knowledge and the connections that await you. Get ready to be motivated as these success stories showcase the endless possibilities that an education in agricultural engineering can unlock. Stay tuned for a webinar that will be both instructive and rewarding. So now I request our Associate Dean to say a few words.
Dr. Jain, Utuja birthday, Engineer Utuja birthday, and all my dear students, and today's special guest, Deepti Salvi ji and Garima. Hello. So today, initially, I wish you very great day and wishing you very happy 76th Independence Day. In the independent country, India, we are arranging the special program as a special lecture on the memory of Dr. A.J. Powar Memorial Lecture Series. In the last month, we had a special lecture from our alumni, and very good response we have received from the students. In this month also, we are organizing the special talk from the distinguished our alumni students. One is Deepti Salvi. Actually, I have not taught to Deepti Salvi, but I know. And to the Garima, I was here, I taught her. So both were sincere, both were hardworking, and with their own effort, they have reached to the commendable positions in the field of agricultural engineering. Ms. Deepti Salvi is the assistant professor in the North Carolina University, USA, and Garima is a manager in New York. So it's quite responsible position, and for agricultural engineer, both madam, we are proud of you. So with your experience, definitely our student will be benefited. You are a motivation for our students. So it's an inspiration for we all. With this few words, again I welcome you and request you to start the further process. Thank you.
I first introduce the first speaker. Our first speaker is Dr. Deepti Salvi, working as assistant professor in the Department of Food, Bioprocessing and Nutritional Sciences at North Carolina State University. Dr. Salvi received her BTech degree in 2003 from our university, then MS in Food Engineering and Bioprocessing Technology from the Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand, and PhD in Biological and Agricultural Engineering from Louisiana State University. After graduation, she worked as a postdoctoral researcher at the Urban Sugar Research Institute, Louisiana State University, and then as an assistant research professor in the Department of Food Sciences at Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. There are 40 peer-reviewed articles, 3 invited magazine articles, 7 book chapters, and 1 book on her credit. She has presented at several local and international conferences. Her lab currently receives the research funding. Then she teaches undergraduate and graduate courses and mentors the graduate students and postdoc researchers. She has been awarded with the prestigious Goodnight Early Career Innovator Award and Outstanding Postdoc Mentorship Award at North Carolina State University. With this introduction, I now request Dr. Salvi to share her experience and guide our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. John, and also thank you, Dr. Shahid, for warm welcome. It's always a pleasure to be back in your alma mater. I'm really happy to be here. I'll be happy to guide the students. Do let me know if you have any questions or would you like me to talk anything about. You just gave my introduction, so I don't have a lot to talk about. Can you hear me properly?
Yes. Dr. Deepti, please share your professional journey. How you
Definitely. I actually was raised in Dapoli, so I was that way local. So and I'm very proud to be the first batch of CAET Dapoli under Dr. Powar's guidance. There has been a lot of influence of Dr. Powar's personality on our for being achieving, setting a higher goal. It was very helpful. Dr. Powar was very influential in our career overall. And so I did my bachelor's in agriculture engineering. During last year, I was more interested in food processing, and I was actually admitted at IIT Khardwal as well as in Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand. And I did my master's from over there, and then PhD at Louisiana University. After that, I worked at a couple of universities before joining as an assistant professor at North Carolina State University.
Please guide us, our students, about how to get, how to do the further studies outside the area.
Definitely, I think I can even go by my experience. We were in a small city like Dapoli, and there were not many sources of information. Internet was new, and we only knew that we had to prepare for GATE exam, and we knew that for studying abroad you need either GRE or TOEFL, and we didn't have any facilities to prepare for those exams. So like what we did was we searched different universities which are which have reputation in our area. It might be farm machinery, food processing, water resources, any area that we were interested in. We applied, we reached out to people, and I think it's the same strategy the students can apply right now. Find out which university they are interested in, see if you qualify in terms of GRE, TOEFL, you have your scores ready, and then reach out to people. Sometimes putting the application isn't sufficient. It's always a good idea to write to a faculty with whom you are interested in working with, and not necessarily they will reply in the first email. You might have to send them, a gentle reminder emails and follow up consistently. How is the admission process? Because there are some things that will be different from university to university. So I think that's something that I can advise you.
Before asking the questions, I welcome all the personalities who joined online. I think there are number of people. So I welcome for this memorial lecture, all of you. And I will ask to Deepti that as you are in overseas, so what are the opportunities for agricultural engineer in overseas at the different universities? We can focus on that. Even also, you can discuss the various areas, various subjects where our students can get the opportunity, they can learn, they can upgrade their education, they can upgrade their training also. So you can focus on that. Please.
So I couldn't hear the question completely, but what I hear is you're looking for what are the opportunities for agriculture engineering students. Is that correct, or
yes,
did I miss something?
No, it's 100% correct, because our topic of today's lecture is also independent India and opportunity in agricultural engineering. This is the actual today's topic. So you can focus on the opportunity also, and we can discuss your life also there, here also, and as a alumni you can write in your language, no issue.
Yeah. So in terms of opportunities, I can talk more about US universities, because that's where my experience is. So usually, in the US universities, you can change your field. So if you are in agriculture engineering and you are interested in data science, there are applications in data science in agriculture engineering. So there is no limitation what you want to do. As long as you have a basic engineering degree, strong background, good grades, then you can learn different things. And the different departments in different fields civil and environmental engineering could be a field department, and agricultural and biological engineering, food engineering, bioprocess engineering. There are many which can take agricultural engineering school. So just don't just think, for students, I would say just don't think that you have to choose a field in agriculture engineering. We actually have a group of our alumni, who have gone to software, data science, food processing, different areas. Does that answer your question?
Can I ask one question? Shall I ask one question? Deepti?
Hello. Hi, sir.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Shall we, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I want to ask you
You can
one question.
No problem.
Am I permitted?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are permitted. No issue.
Okay. Deepti, I am very happy to see you here. Thanks for welcoming. Yeah. My question is, are there some short courses available for students of BTech, MTech or PhD there, so that they can come over there for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, like this, so that they could get exposure of some foreign countries, for like some developed countries exposure. If the courses are available there, what is the procedure to join the short courses?
Thank you for your question, sir. खूप छान वाटलं सगळ्यांना बघून आणि खूप आनंद होतोय की खूप वर्षांनी बघते सगळ्यांना आणि खूप आठवणी जाग्यात आल्या. So to answer your question for the short courses, generally there are some like scholarships or something which can allow or fellowship, either from India or from international organization. But very rarely there are this kind of opportunities. Again, if the student, like I also work, like me गेले 2 वर्ष continuously इंडियामध्ये अंडरग्रॅज्युएट स्टुडंट्सना समरसाठी किंवा 3 महिन्यासाठी माझ्या क्लासमध्ये मी होस्ट करते. तर my advice would be that at least 4 महिन्याची internship policy आहे. A program like that. Because eka mahinaमध्ये खूप get to grasp things, what is happening, or if you want to do some substantial research, 4 months onwards, 4 months to a year would be an ideal time. Because that gives you enough time to understand the system, conduct some meaningful research, and maybe take courses for students. So there are a few scholarships, international scholarships, as well as I think Indian government has a lot of scholarships like that. So that can be utilized. Usually US universities do not have that kind of program, and if there are, it would be specific to a particular university. There is actually just a couple of programs that I know, but I don't remember right now. But there's a Butlock Fellow program for some countries. Then there are some other scholarships that are from the international society. But Indian government recently has a lot of scholarships for travel abroad.
It's okay, Dr. Aware, or you want to add some more?
Sorry, मला नीट ऐकू येत नाहीये.
डॉक्टर आवारे तुम्हाला आणखी विचारायचं आहे का? You want to ask something?
मला एक क्वेश्चन आहे की थोडंसं मराठी विचारतो. सपोज जर स्टाफ मेंबर किंवा एमटेक झालेल्या विद्यार्थ्याला किंवा पीएचडी झालेल्या विद्यार्थ्याला, पीएचडी झालेल्या शक्यतो किंवा स्टाफ मेंबरला समजा पोस्ट डॉक साठी इंटरेस्टेड असेल तर त्याची काय प्रोसिजर आहे, काही सांगता येईल त्याबद्दल? की तिथल्या गाईडशी कॉन्टॅक्ट करूनच पुढे होतं?
या तिथे पोझिशन ओपन असेल तर लाईक जसं की आता मागच्या वर्षी माझ्या ग्रुपमध्ये पोझिशन ओपन होती, तर मी ती ॲडव्हर्टाईज केली होती, लिंक्डइनमध्ये शेअर केली होती किंवा माझ्या वेबसाईटवरती ॲडव्हर्टाईज केली होती. तर तिथे अप्लाय करून नेम्स कमिंग इन माय माइंड that while I was there. So it's very good to see everyone, to talk to you. अचीवमेंट कसं म्हणजे काय म्हणतात आपण प्रयत्न करत राहायला पाहिजे. म्हणजे मी जस्ट आणि पवार सरांनी आम्हाला म्हणजे पहिल्या दिवसापासून सांगितलं की स्वप्न मोठी बघितली पाहिजे. आणि एकदा मी एक टेड टॉक ऐकत होते की त्याच्यामध्ये एका किंडरगार्टन मधल्या म्हणजे पहिलीच्या पेक्षा पण लहान त्याच्यातल्या मुलांवरती स्टडी केला त्यांनी. आणि ती मुलं मोठी होईपर्यंत त्यांनी त्यांचा अभ्यास केला आणि बघितलं की कोण जास्त सक्सेसफुल होत आहे. तर ज्या मुलांमध्ये ग्रिट होती म्हणजे की सोडून देत नव्हती गोष्टी पुढच्या एखादी गोष्टीचा ध्यास घेतला की ती कम्प्लीट करत, ती लोक खूप आयुष्यात सक्सेसफुल होतात. त्यामुळे माझ्या ते एकदम डोक्यात बसलं की ती that grit, everybody should have that grit, not to give up on things and just work towards your goal, and then everything is possible. And again, when you see some successes, there are so many stories behind that. You just see the success. आजकालच्या म्हणजे सोशल मीडियामध्ये you see only the good thing, positive, but struggles that people go through ते दिसत नाही. न्यूजमध्ये कोणीतरी जिंकला एवढंच आपण ऐकतो, पण त्याच्या मागे तो किती वेळेला हरलेला असतो आणि त्यामुळे तो आता जिंकतो. ते आपण विसरायला नको. त्यामुळे जेव्हा काही अशी परिस्थिती येईल तेव्हा जस्ट आपलं प्रयत्न करत राहणं, आपलं 100% देणं, that's all we can do.
And actually, this is the lesson for your genius, we can say. This is very important message. Thank you.
And to build on what the ma'am just said, हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं, इंग्लिश में सॉरी मैं मराठी भूल गई, जितनी सीखी थी मैंने दापोली में.
No problem. You are comfortable.
So I think to build on what the ma'am just said, you definitely have to have some sort of grit, you have to have passion. But I think something that has really helped me when I was choosing what I wanted to do, I think from the very beginning, like even doing agriculture, nobody in my family had done that, and they were like, I don't know why I really choosing this field. We don't know how to guide you through this. But I was really fascinated with the field. So having passion and knowing that you're going to enjoy, every day, whatever career you choose, whether it's academia, whether it's corporate job, whether it's your startup, it doesn't matter. What is important is that you know how much hard work it will take, but you do not, you'll not be shy of it. Only because it will give you, it should be a motivation. Every single day it should make you happy. 8 o'clock, you shouldn't be afraid to go to it's 8 o'clock, I gotta go to work. No, I mean, whether it's your work, whether it's your studies, no matter where you are right now, if you're enjoying what you're doing, you'll definitely succeed at it. So, and another thing that I always did was looking out for people, like whether it was food science, like I was really interested in food processing. I didn't know what careers I could make out of it. So I literally went on LinkedIn. I look at people who've done masters, who've done PhDs, what their journey has been so far. Like you can, just to see how did they get where they are today. I know I cannot compete with anybody who graduated like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or who has had a very separate journey, right? But I think what is important is seeing other people's journey, just like Deepti said. Like, you just see that where they are today, but we forget to see how they got there. So if you ever want to, it doesn't matter what field you choose eventually. I mean, we study farm machinery, we study horticulture, we study so many things during our bachelor's. Just pick what makes you happy, and as long as you're at it, and as long as you've done your research that, okay, this is the way, this is the field I want to explore, Now I'm going to reach out to 10 other people and see what their journey was. How did they become successful? It could be your professors. I mean, if you admire one of your professors, you can go talk to them. Like, what was their journey all about? And how do, what their day-to-day is like. Because, sitting here 10 years later, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, and you didn't do that research of, if this is the career I'm going for, and you didn't sort of like, how do I want to say this? I think I want to say, like, if you didn't see what it entails, and you start giving up, it doesn't work like that. So, the entire journey, whether it's, you can ask the thing of how much effort it takes to write a research paper, and when your experiments fail, it's not fun at all. And you have deadlines and presentations. Like for you to do masters and PhD here, you have to have certain number of papers done by this time. So there's a lot of pressure. So, understanding the journey is very important in, achieving your goals, achieving where you want to be, it will become easier. So, I think one thing that I've learned in my journey so far is do not hesitate to ask questions. There's no question as dumb when you're trying to learn the journey from somebody else who has achieved it so far and they're still not starting. So, just ask questions, just find people you are looking up to, like Ma'am said, reach out. Maybe they will not reply to your first email, maybe they will not reply to your first message. It could be your life. But keep reaching out, keep following up. It's you. Taking efforts is yours to do. Nobody else is going to do that for you. So I think that's my bit.
I think it's muted if you are saying something, Rutuja.
Let me introduce first the second speaker, Engineer Garima Khardwal, working currently as a head of quality control at one Mindfulness New York. She completed her BTech in 2015 from our university and Masters in Food Science from Michigan State University in 2018. She started working as a food safety and quality practitioner at a company in Boston. In 2021, she joined at one Mindfulness. So with this, if students want to ask some questions, so Garima, please share your experiences. Share your experience about the journey or difficulties you faced there while studying or doing your job.
I think my journey was like slightly interesting because I left Pune and I came to Dapoli. There was a lot of adaptation that had to be done, but I mean all of the professors were so amazing. My experience in Dapoli was I loved it. Like learning everything about agriculture engineering that I don't think. I don't think I had imagined that I would learn so much and it would be so difficult that which field I would want to go eventually. But the professors were there, Thakur sir and Mohar sir, everybody was there. Like you could just go to them, ask them questions, what this field means. So I think eventually I ended up deciding that I wanted to do food processing. I went to Ludhiana for training and seeing everything that they are doing in food. I knew this is where I wanted to be. Then during my implant training, I think H.T. Chadhav sir had really motivated me to pursue higher studies. I was still not too sure back then, but then when I was doing my internship at CAET, they had people from foreigners visiting the farms. So just the thought that everything that's going behind when we are exporting this food, it just made me so much more curious, and I knew that okay, now I really want to go outside and pursue masters and see what is food science and how food is being processed here in the US. So I decided to pursue it from Michigan State University, and I graduated in 2018. And then I started as a food safety and quality person at a company in Boston. I worked there for 3 years. It was, it was a great opportunity. It was a very different work culture. You study something. I think another thing that I would want to add is what you study, it really builds up your foundations. But when you're working in a corporate, academia could be different. I can't speak for it. I haven't been in academia at all. But when you're working outside and if it's not an R&D job, if it's any of the managerial or engineer or testing kind of roles, then you're definitely signing up for something. If your foundations are strong, like in science, maths, you're going to succeed at your job. Because they don't give you time to learn. It's like you gotta deliver. You have to deliver to be in the market. You have to constantly build on your resume. You constantly have to see what other people are doing to stay current. So this side, if you come to the corporate side, I think when I started working, I was probably working 16 hours just to make sure that I still have the job and just grasping everything. So it was an amazing experience, and I would say that if you get a chance to work at a smaller company, please do it. It's the kind of things that you will learn. You wear so many hats. It's not just your job. Working in corporate or working in a company, it will ask you to do. You'll just keep absorbing so many things, and it was a great experience. And then I decided that I wanted to move on, and I wanted to do something that had more to do with the R&D, like something that I had really studied, more with quality control, reviewing the processes, making changes that made a difference to the product. So here I am. I'm working for one mining mill. It's a startup company, and we're trying to make great breads. So that's my journey.
One question I want to ask. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Garima,
Yes.
what's your opinion that the student should pursue for the master?
It depends where you want to go. What kind of roles are you looking for? If that opportunity that just came, तो अभी आपके पास जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटी आई है और वो अपॉर्चुनिटी एक्चुअली आपको आपके गोल तक लेके जा रही है तो वेल एंड गुड. बट अगर आपके पास टाइम है कि आप मास्टर्स करो और फिर आगे बढ़ो, उससे बस आपको एक फायदा होगा कि जब आप उस जॉब में उतरोगे ना, आप ज़्यादा कॉन्फिडेंट होगे बिकॉज आपके पास आपका फाउंडेशन बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाती है बिकॉज आपने मे बी उस फील्ड में आपने एक्सपर्टीज करी है. बट द थिंग इज कि अगर मास्टर्स कर रहे हो ना तो आप थोड़ा सा अपने फील्ड को थोड़ा सा लिमिट कर देते हो, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. क्योंकि आपने 2 साल और किसी चीज़ में एक्सपर्ट बनने के लिए कोशिश की है, बट जब आप बैचलर से निकले होते हो आप बहुत फ्रेश माइंड, आपका माइंड इतना फ्रेश होता है ऑल द फील्ड्स दैट यू स्टडी. बट व्हेन यू पुट 2 more years into something that's more concentrated, you are you're just then you just want to make a career in that field. So it depends what you want to do in life. Like for the role that I am in, I don't think I would have been able to pick up and grow so fast if I did not have my masters. Just because of the background, education background or the experience I needed. So it depends on the career, like what roles are you looking for in future. But maybe 10 years later, it doesn't matter. आप 10 साल में आप एक्सपीरियंस के थ्रू भी बहुत कुछ सीख जाते हो. Because even through this job, I have constantly been learning something or the other. It's just that it's not a degree that I cannot put it in my resume as a degree or as a certificate, but you're constantly learning, you're constantly reading. So it's in my opinion, masters helps if you want to have if you're dedicated to that career field.
मैं एक क्वेश्चन चाहता था कि सपोज द स्टूडेंट इज हैविंग द बीटेक डिग्री और स्किल इंडिया इज द प्रोग्राम रनिंग हियर, और स्किल इंडिया प्रोग्राम या कुछ भी उसने कुछ स्पेसिफिक फील्ड में अगर स्किल ले लिया है, किसी भी इसमें उसको स्किल है, बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा स्किल प्राप्त हो गया, तो उसने मतलब स्टूडेंट इंटेलिजेंट है, हार्ड वर्किंग, सब क्वालिटीज है उसमें, सब क्वालिटीज है, तो उसने स्किल के बाद में जॉब करना ठीक रहेगा या मास्टर पीएचडी करके आगे बढ़ना ठीक रहेगा, या उसके पर्सनल इसके ऊपर डिपेंड है वो क्या चाहता है लाइफ में. So what do you think?
Sir, I think in my opinion it's like as long as the personal goal बहुत important हो जाता है, मतलब क्योंकि आपके पास 4 choices हैं, आप personally क्या अचीव करना चाहते हो, बिकॉज आप इमीडिएटली रोज स्टार्ट करोगे, आप बहुत ही स्टार्टिंग एंट्री लेवल जॉब्स करोगे, आप उस मतलब अगर मतलब जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी, आई थिंक ये बहुत सिचुएशनल क्वेश्चन है फॉर मी टू आंसर एंड लाइक
एक्चुअली क्या हुआ है अभी मेरे जो क्लासमेट थे, मैं जब कंपेयर करता हूँ तो मैं मेरे जो बीटेक के क्लासमेट थे कि जिन्होंने मतलब बीटेक में महिंद्रा एंड महिंद्रा या मतलब कोई भी ट्रैक्टर कंपनीज, ड्रिप इरिगेशन कंपनीज में ज्वाइन किया था बीटेक के बाद ही, वो भी ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट थे, मतलब जो भी हम क्लास में होते 5-10 में ही थे वो, लेकिन उन्होंने जॉब कर लिया था. कई लोगों ने, मेरे जैसे लोगों ने फिर आगे मतलब आगे बढ़ी एजुकेशन किया, पीएचडी किया, लेकिन मैं जब कंपेयर करता हूँ वो जल्दी सेटल हो गए और उनकी पोजीशंस जो भी है वो जो चाहते थे जल्दी करना, उनको जल्दी वो अचीव हो गए. लेकिन फिर हम मास्टर करेंगे, पीएचडी करेंगे, तो कुछ टाइम ऐसा आता है लाइफ में कि जल्दी अगर जॉब नहीं मिलेगा, जो चाहिए वो नहीं मिलता है, तो स्टूडेंट को थोड़ा फील होता है कि हम इतना बढ़ रहे, आगे एजुकेशन कर रहे हैं और उनके साथ कंपेयर करेंगे तो थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम होता है. तो ये मुझे लगा था, इसके लिए मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा कि आपका क्या ओपिनियन इसके बारे में. दीप्ति को भी सेम क्वेश्चन है, दीप्ति साइड में अगर आंसर करना चाहती है तो सेम क्वेश्चन इज टू हर कि क्या करना चाहिए, कि बहुत ज्यादा स्किल लेके जॉब की ओर बढ़ना चाहिए जल्दी बीटेक के बाद ही, या कुछ आगे एजुकेशन. हम लोगों ने तो इनको यही पढ़ाया था, गेट करो, जेआरएफ करो, इसके बाद आगे बढ़ो, यही पढ़ाया था हम लोगों ने, क्योंकि हमने वही किया था. लेकिन आपका क्या ओपिनियन है इसके बारे में? दीप्ति को भी पूछना चाहता हूँ.
I think again as Garima said, it's again personal. क्या हर एक का attitude है उसके ऊपर dependent है. As you said, people will settle sometime when they get a job directly after doing bachelor's degree. But like from a faculty point of view, when I see my student who are doing masters or PhD and have worked in industry and came back to do masters or PhD, I see a difference. So studying from book and studying on job are two different things. As Garima said, when you work on a fast-paced environment where you have to take decision based on your knowledge. I have also worked in industry for a year, so that is entirely different than what you learn from the book. So I think a combination of both. If you want to maybe get an experience of 1 year of studying, of working in the industry, whichever is relevant to your field, and then going for a master's or PhD, because again, experience is important, but I think having a master's degree or PhD degree also strengthens your resume. But again, not everybody's journey is same. Everybody's going to be different journey, and there's no like one route that if you get PhD then you're going to be successful, or then you're going to get a good job or something like that. So doing masters or PhD, it's a lot of work. There's research involved, and research, as most of you know, doesn't go the way we plan. So it might be discouraging during that time. And again, we have to remember that everybody's journey is different. We have to have that focus grit and just work on the things that whatever our aim is.
Very rightly pointed out by both the.
That means going to follow our aim. aim is important, what we are thinking is important. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So if you're preparing for GRE and TOEFL, there are books. I think we are outdated right now. A lot of things have changed since we have prepared for those exams. But there are coaching classes in Pune, Mumbai, and there are online. I'm sure there are a lot of online courses as well. If I find any, I can send it.
So, was the question that whether it is needed or how to prepare? What was the question?
Both questions are there. How to prepare first for the students' point of view, and are these needed for doing the short courses?
So, I think depending upon the universities and depending upon which country you are applying to, the requirement of whether we need GRE, TOEFL, or any other exam, that will be different. Currently, most of the US universities have waived GRE due to COVID. And in terms of preparation, for me, long time back when I did my GRE and TOEFL, I prepared on my own. Just had a few books that I studied from, and I think. Yeah, you can always go for coaching classes, or study on your own, and practice your exams, and that should be good enough. But generally, when I am hiring a student, I do look at GRE TOEFL, of course, but at the same time, I look at their academic records if their grades are good. And also look at recommendation. I just don't go by written recommendation letters. I do talk to the faculty who have written those recommendation letters to get an idea about students.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepti.
How do you used to manage the time after our despite of this tight schedule of the college and simultaneously for preparing for the competition exam and for GRE and all that? So how the time management you used to do? Because now students will give skills that we have to write journals, we have to write the books, attend classes. Then how do we get time for the GRE and what after or for MPSC? And what happens nowadays, after 4th year they start preparing for something competitive, and then waste their time 1 year or 2 years. It's now for last 5 years or such thing is happening. So that's why you just tell them how to manage the time and keep their zeal continuously.
I think it will be while continuing 4 years of degree. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So from right now, I'm married. I have 2 kids, and I have a lot of responsibility. I still find time to do things that are of my interest. So I think if student is really interested in pursuing the exam, they should find time. You can always plan properly, start early, have some people, because if you think, okay, let me finish this and then I will do this, then things are going to be delayed. Get started, don't think about that, okay, I do this, then only I'm going to start preparing for this exam, I'm going to finish my bachelor's. But then you're missing on the process, somebody else might be studying with you. You are in the right environment, you are away from home, probably some of you, staying in the hostel, you have a lot of time, just plan and work accordingly. I would suggest to do it while you are studying, but not compromising your grades in whatever you are studying.
Garima, you want to put some highlight? Because I saw you continuously with your pocket diary. Preparing for vocabulary and all that. So, if you want to add something.
I guess ma'am said it right. That if you're passionate about it, you find time for it. I mean, if you're planning to do anything, trust me, as you're growing up, there's so many other things that you have to do, and you just learn that this every day takes 24 hours. So, find time. like all the hard work you lost to do. You just prioritize, you just make priorities. You know, sometimes you might have to compromise a little fun, sometimes you might have to compromise a little sleep. But you know, do all the hard work now so you don't have to do it when you're older. So
Deepti and Garima, our students are quite shy. So in front of we people.
I guess Rupija wants to ask a question.
Hi ma'am. Myself Rupija from third year BTech. Ma'am, I wanted to ask you the question: is it compulsory to give GRD, or is there any other exam which we can give, or like the university exams, to get the admission?
Maybe I can answer this question. I think some of the universities in the US currently they have gave GRE, but depending on other universities, they might or might not be different exams in different countries. So in US generally GRE and TOEFL is required. Due to COVID they have waived it, but I don't know how long they will do. But always a good idea to have that exam because then like when I'm looking at students' application, I want to see the student have I want to examine that student from different point of view. How good they have, how good score in GRE total, what their particular grades are, and also their combinations. So all of that will matter. Individual universities in the US do not have their own exam. I don't know about other countries.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And ma'am, as per you, which country is best to get the higher education?
Again, it depends on your preference. I have studied in 2 different countries. I have studied in Thailand, I studied in US. One thing that you can keep in mind, whichever country you are choosing, what do you want to do after this? Do you want to work in that country? How easy it is to work in that country after you finish your graduation? So maybe that's something that you can think. So depending on different criteria, you can have, do you want to be closer to India, then you can do something like that. Or like some countries will have different language that you have to learn. So it really depends on your goal and what you want to do next after finishing country. Is that country suitable for you? That is what I can suggest. But generally, US, European countries, Thailand, again, international institute, even China, some of the institutes are good, but language might be higher.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Garima, do you want to add something?
no, ma'am, you said it perfectly, and I think the only other thing I would add is like learning about the visa requirements, and if they allow you to work after that, because you will be putting down a lot of money when you're pursuing education outside and you don't get a scholarship. So there's a huge amount of money that's involved in lifestyle of students. It's not like you have a hostel and you get food, you're preparing your own food. There's a lot of baggage with it. So just embrace that all in terms of visa requirements, in terms of opportunities after you graduate, in terms of your own personal goals, like what do you you can, what are your goals career-wise, and just make sure that all of that works in your favor.
Some students want to know the career opportunities in your field. At AIT as well as the State University, what are the career opportunities for a BTech graduate?
Rithuja, are you repeating question by Poonam or is it a separate question?
Separate question.
Separate question is there.
So what is the question? I'm sorry.
Some students want to know what are the career opportunities in the AIT and the State University after passing out the BTech degree.
I see. So after graduating from outside any universities, what are the opportunities? Okay. So like I think Garima is a good example of working in industry after doing masters. I wanted to continue studying, so I did further studies, and again after PhD also in US, academia is not the only option. A lot of my students work in industry, food processing industry, engineering consultation companies. Some are in as faculty, so depending on their interest. And some are interested in, forming a new startup. So, it's not just that PhD doesn't mean that you have to go in academia. There are a lot more options available. Same thing with masters also, a lot of job opportunities, different, especially in the US, there are, jobs in food industry, civil and environmental, bioprocessing, all the fields that agriculture engineers can do masters in. Again, jobs will be there and there will be steady jobs. Not like software people, like Ian also, software people get paid much better than food processing, but job security is there. So, depending on their liking, there are opportunities, and I can talk more for the US. I'm not sure, like from Thailand, it would have been difficult to find a job. A lot of people that I know from my class either went back to their own countries. Very few, like I would say, 2 to 3% found a job in Thailand, because again, these are related issues.
आणखीन एक क्वेश्चन माझा असा आहे की बीटेक डिग्री हा बॅरियर होऊ शकतं का की कुठल्या म्हणजे बाहेर समजा आपल्याला शिकायचं आहे म्हणजे फॉरेन कंट्रीजमध्ये जेव्हा ऍडमिशन घेतात ना बीटेक डिग्री हा बॅरियर होतं का नाही आहे ना म्हणजे हा मुलांमध्ये एक थोडासा हे असतं की बीटेक का करावं आम्ही
मला प्रश्न नीट कळला नाही. बीटेकचा ऍडमिशनसाठी उपयोग होतो का बीटेक का करावं
फर्दर स्टडीजसाठी बीटेक हा बॅरियर नसू शकेल ना.
सो बीएससी 3 वर्षाचे कोर्स असतात. अमेरिकेमध्ये 3 वर्षाची डिग्री ही बॅचलर्स डिग्री मानली जात नाही, त्यामुळे तुम्हाला 4 वर्षाची डिग्री असावी. जर इंडियामध्ये बीएससी केलं तर बीएससी प्लस एमएससी करून मगच तिकडे मास्टर्सला ऍडमिशन होऊ शकते. वेरएस जेव्हा बीटेक करतो तेव्हा तो 4 वर्षाचा बॅचलर्सचा कोर्स मानला जातो युएसमध्ये, आणि मग त्या बेसिसवरती तुम्हाला मास्टर्सला ऍडमिशन मिळतं. आणि खूप कमी रेअर केसेसमध्ये डायरेक्ट पीएचडीला पण ऍडमिशन होऊ शकतं.
So our students wants to ask about the plasma
about that. So plasma म्हणजे काय कोणाला माहिती आहे? What do you know as plasma? Any of the students?
No, I don't know. But I can.
Any answers? तुझ्या मला ऐकू येते तर स्टुडंट बोलत असतील तर काय?
नाही बोलत नाही. त्याच्याबद्दल त्यांना माहिती जाणून घ्यायचंय की प्लाझ्मा ऍक्टिव्हेटेड वॉटर म्हणजे काय आहे.
Okay, so I think somebody online, Sujit, thank you for your answer. Sujit is saying fourth state of matter. So आपण solid, liquid आणि gas या तीन state of matter आपल्याला माहिती. पण त्या गॅसला आपण जेव्हा एनर्जी देतो तेव्हा तो आयोनाइज्ड गॅस बनतो आणि त्याला प्लाझ्मा म्हणतो. आणि आपलं जे युनिवर्स आहे 99% ऑफ द युनिवर्स इज मेड अप ऑफ प्लाझ्मा. ओके, पण जो म्हणजे सन इज मेड अप ऑफ प्लाझ्मा. तुमच्या टीव्हीमध्ये प्लाझ्मा आहे. काही जे दुकानावरती ओपन अँड क्लोज सायन्स जे असतात that is plasma. Lightning is plasma. So we see plasma a lot in nature. Also bending करताना जो दिसतो तो पण प्लाझ्मा असतो. So man-made versus nature भरपूर प्लाझ्मा. But the plasma that we are studying in our lab is called cold atmospheric pressure plasma. म्हणजे काय, तो partially ionized gas आहे पण atmospheric प्रेशरला 1 atmosphere आणि रूम टेम्परेचरच्या जवळ. म्हणजे सनचा प्लाझ्मा thousands of degrees Celsius मध्ये असतो. पण the plasma that we are looking at is room temperature plasma, cold plasma त्याला असं म्हणतात. So माझ्या लॅबमध्ये जो रिसर्च चालतो तो नॉन थर्मल फूड प्रोसेसिंग टेक्नॉलॉजीज वरती. ओके, तर ते प्लाझ्मा इज वन ऑफ द टेक्नॉलॉजी. तर जेव्हा तो प्लाझ्मा जो एअरपासून केलेला असतो तो जेव्हा पाण्याला एक्सपोज करतो आपण तेव्हा प्लाझ्मामधल्या ज्या रिॲक्टिव्ह स्पेशीज असतात, रिॲक्टिव्ह ऑक्सिजन आणि रिॲक्टिव्ह नायट्रोजन स्पेशीज त्या पाण्यामध्ये जातात आणि त्या पाण्याच्या प्रॉपर्टीज चेंज होतात. सो दॅट वॉटर बिकम्स ॲसिडिक अँड इट कॅन ॲक्ट एज अ सॅनिटायझर or it can act as a fertilizer too because nitrogen is dissolved in it. So we work on different applications of plasma and plasma activated water.
Hello ma'am. Myself Satyajit Anjanamurthy from 3rd year BTech. I'm so happy to see you there that our seniors are achieving such a great height. So my question is, ma'am, we are observing day by day that AI technology in USA is increasing day by day. So how we can correlate AI technology and BTech engineering so that in future we have some opportunities in AI.
Garima, you want to answer? Question is about AI technology and how AI and agriculture engineering can go together.
I think in my field, I mean, AI is artificial intelligence, and it is probably overtaking every other field. But you can just use it as a tool. It's like I don't think it can replace agriculture. Like there's places where people need to be there, and they the sensory part of it is evaluation of observation evaluation part of it. That would be just that kind of decision making. I think only humans can do. But yes, I think AI is a great tool when you're working because now you can just instead of going to Google and having to look at 10 different search documents, you can ask ChatGPT to tell you what that thinks, and we usually develop those answers. And so I guess there's different types of AIs, and for different kind of roles, different kind of it just if you use it as a tool, it will definitely speed up the work that you're doing, your research, your curiosities, answer your question in a much better, much framed way, instead of getting scared from it. So I think eventually learning how to use AI to your benefit, to do your job better, is definitely going to help. I mean, and that's how I use it in my field because my job is such that I have to be on site have to look at the process, and no AI is going to be able to do that.
Just a disclaimer for students, ChatGPT does not necessarily give right answers, and do not use that, you can use it as a tool to learn, but you need to know how to write, you need to know how, you can check your things in that, but do not copy and paste things, I do not allow anybody to use that. We have to live with that. But ChatGPT is one type of AI, but there are other AIs that we also use for our research. Especially when we deal with large data, right? So let's say you have a greenhouse and you want to take decisions on harvesting or something like that, or if you want to monitor if there are any pests or anything, then you can use the visual data and AI, and you can train that AI model to give you early warnings. If this happens, that means there is a disease coming on plants. Or in terms of food processing, there is so much data on quality, safety, and color, texture. You can use that with AI, to determine processing conditions. So we actually are using AI in some of our publications. If you see most recent ones, we have used AI that way. And there is a big initiative. Like when Google came, everybody's like, oh, nobody's going to read books, but we still have to go to books. So same thing with AI. It's a tool to help us that, and it's a tool that we are training, so we need to be careful and check the information. We cannot be 100% dependent on that. We can use it in a good way. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
I think there are a couple of questions online. Maybe Poonam's question means for both of us. If student wants to do master's degree out of India, what will be the options, like various universities, different country? Then you want to answer?
I mean, I think you are better for the education side of it.
Yeah. So, Poonam, you also know, like when I started applying while I was in India, I just Google searched the field that I wanted and looked at the name of the universities, looked at their ranking, and then started applying to different countries. So AIT was that one, then Maharashtra was another university. And I did that because I didn't have GRE or TOEFL that time. But if I had GRE and TOEFL, I would have applied to US universities around that time. So it really depends on the students' preference, and I think as we answered earlier also, what are the opportunities after you finish that degree? So what is your goal? Is your goal to come back and work in our own country, or why are you going to that country? Is that or that university? Is it because you just got admission there, or it is because it's one of the best one over there? Okay, so I think that's what I would say. And I think there's a question from Imran. Imran, good to see you too. Generally, students studied abroad, like in West, are preferred in any field. What do you think is the difference in the academic culture of the way teaching and our education system, so that we can concentrate on it and consider it for personality building? Imran, I think this is a really good question, and being in academia, I see the difference. Like in India, generally, there is less focus on understanding things and more on memorizing things. Over here, means like it's probably surprising for you all, but when I was doing my PhD, I really understood what is derivative and what is integration really means. And I had good grades. I always had good grades, and math was my favorite topic. But the professors over here not just gave the education, but why and how, all of that. So that is very important. So I also host, I have hosted a few agriculture engineers, and they were in my food processing class, And they were like, yes, we learned this, but now we know why is it like this, and what are the applications and how we are going to use it. So I think that's something. If and it's very difficult to change the whole education system. Plus. I think it is difficult to do that because one, we have a lot of population, and we have to teach a lot of people. Over here in the US, not everybody goes to a 4-year degree. People just do high school and start finding jobs. A few people go to university because it's expensive. So then the universities are also invested. So every state, there is one state university in one state. So they have invested a lot of money in infrastructure, hiring good people, and getting an academia job is very difficult. It took me 10 years after my PhD to get a job that I wanted, as an assistant professor, independent on my own. So it is, so people who are really passionate about this, teaching, research, they are the people who are there, and then that makes a difference, And then again, even my kids are studying over here. If I ask them to remember, I said, why? I need to know how did this happen? Why do I need to know? How am I going to use it? So like my daughter who was in 7th grade, she was doing a project on her own, she was trying to find answers. So that is taught from early age. It's not just colleges, but from elementary, middle, high, that's where they learn. A problem can be solved in different ways. The student know that, answer will be same, but they can solve it in different ways. How to solve it? What does it really mean? All those things are really emphasized over here. And I think that makes a difference, and don't get me wrong, our Indian education system is very good too, and it has produced a lot of good things, and I'm never undermining any of that. But these are some of the good things that I like in the culture over here. But my foundation was strong with Indian system. Again, I want to make sure that you understand that I'm not just praising one side versus other.
I think when you're preparing for exams here, you don't have to memorize. Even the questions are not, there's no textbooks. When I was doing my masters, there was not one book that we were studying out of. There's a topic, and you can read as much as you want about it. And even for the exams, these are the 5 books that professor has recommended, but you can read 10, and when you're going for the exam, you don't know where exactly it's going to come from. So it was mostly about understanding the topic. And what you studied in the class and what you're actually giving an exam are going to, exams are mostly application based. They're not a theoretical based question. So I think that was one thing that I felt was different here too.
One student, Samruddhi, want to ask you what are the specialized subjects that can be chosen after BTech for masters if one wants to pursue MTech related to our degree?
Yeah, again, as I said earlier, in US, there is no barrier. If you are doing BTech in agriculture and if you apply to computer science and if you explain that well in your application, saying why you want to apply for computer science, what is your relevant experience, or if you want to apply for pre-medical, a lot of engineering students, they here for medical, you have to have a bachelor's degree before you study medical. So a lot of doctors have an engineering degree first, and then they do biomedical engineering or biological engineering or any other engineering or even history or something like that, and they can go to but they have to do required pre-med courses and they can go to medical. So there is not really a barrier which field, but it will be good to see if you have a relevant experience in the area. So whatever field you want to choose, your last year project should be there. You should have done some training in that area, or you should have some work experience relevant to that area. Then only that faculty, that department, that university is going to think that you are a right candidate for that. And I think there's a question from Amiga about whether after pursuing BTech, are there job opportunities or research opportunities in other countries? So I think again it depends, if you have a valid visa in that country and if you find a job, that is based on your previous experience, you can get a job after BTech. If you want to do research, again, if you're doing masters, it can be research masters or non-thesis masters too. So there are a couple of options that you can choose.
Hello ma'am, my name is I am from third year BTech. My question is very basic. Many of us fear to speak English. Like most of us have Marathi medium background. So do you think that language is a barrier in going abroad countries? And some countries like France, Germany, they require some language certification course. So does US also do they require some English certification course?
I don't think I heard the question correctly, but I heard something about language barrier. Maybe would you want to repeat the question briefly?
Sure, ma'am. I was asking that, many of us fear to speak in English, or most of us have Marathi medium background or ISL towards their regional languages. So, many of us are interested to go abroad, but just because of language barrier, many of us think that they will be discouraged. So, what do you think about that? And are there some certification courses essential for going abroad?
So in language barrier, in US I've seen people from various countries and nobody is ashamed that they can speak fluently in their mother tongue and not in English, So, it doesn't matter, you should be able to, if you have open mind to learn any language. And in general in India, I don't think we have a big issue of English. It's some pronunciation, depending on different countries, the pronunciation will be different. So I think you don't need any special classes. What you're studying is in English. People come to US from China where they have studied in Chinese and they have to learn English when they start masters. So compared to that, I don't think any of us we need to think about language is a barrier. If you are asking me a question in English, and I understand that, then that shouldn't be a problem. So do not keep that, as a barrier in your mind. I think, if you are doing a 4-year degree in English, if you want to feel more comfortable, practice speaking English. Write and get it checked using these AI tools and see how you can improve your writing. So those are the things you can do. I don't think special classes are needed, especially if you can converse in English. You don't need to have any special classes, and sometimes not all the solutions are outside. You can just work on your own. Does that answer? Was there anything else?
Yes, ma'am. I was asking that, we go to countries like Germany or France, there it is compulsory to know their language. There is some certification courses required. If we have the certificate that we know their language, only then they allow us to study there. So
if you are going to a non-English speaking country where their education system is in that language, yes, you probably have to learn that language, and I am not sure how you can learn that or what kind of certification you can do. Or some university, they will give you admission and 1 year they will just teach you the language. So I have seen that even in the US, Some people come from non-English speaking countries and 1 year they spend in learning English only. So if the university is giving you admission, they probably have some program or they have some criteria, so you need to look into that.
Thank you.
One question. Brother Rutuja, how are the expenses managed? Like what are the sources for getting the scholarships?
Garima, you want to share your experiences and can talk about,
Like for getting the scholarship?
Yes.
No, I didn't get a scholarship, and scholarships are pretty tough to get because there's a lot of competition, and you have to have research, and you have to have a really strong background, you have to have a really strong statement of purpose to the professor that you're talking to, and your professor can probably give you a scholarship if they have funding at the moment. So ma'am can talk more about it, but every year they have to apply for funding for whatever projects they are doing, and sometimes it may line up with your master's, sometimes it may not line up with your master's, sometimes it may line up halfway there, not halfway there. So scholarships, I wouldn't say that everybody can rely on that. And I think for PhD it's easier, but for masters, I don't think scholarships are easily available for all the students.
So, what I can talk for the US universities are again different, like when I did masters in Thailand, I did get scholarship, for my masters, but again, which is rare, not everybody from my class had scholarship, to study masters. So depending on the institute, universities, like when I was at Khardwal University in New Jersey, there was one scholarship, and there were like 80 graduate students, so not everybody got that. Whereas in my university, generally if a PhD student will not be accepted without a sponsor, that means the faculty has to sponsor. Again, that is not a scholarship, that is a job. It's called either research assistantship or teaching assistantship. So what that means is along with your study and research, you need to help either in teaching and research compulsory, because if you're doing PhD or if you're doing thesis masters, then you have to do your research. So that is a job, but that mostly covers your tuition fees, your health insurance, and some expenses, like for your day-to-day expenses. Not everybody gets it, some people just show that they have financial support from home or loans, and they come as a master student and for tuition fees and stuff, but for day-to-day living in US, international student can work 20 hours, and that job can be anything, either working in McDonald's on campus or working as a research student research worker in anybody's lab. So, or any job that university within the campus only, it cannot be outside the campus. So that's how a lot of people manage their expenses, either funding from home or doing hourly job, and if they're lucky enough to get assistantship or research or teaching or scholarship, then that again, to have that you have to have outstanding resume. Okay, and like I have students who are all paid on assistantship, but I usually get grants, and those grants it's like a job, like when I hire students, I need to see if their experience matches, because day one they start in my lab, they have to start working on the research, because we are obligated to provide progress to the funding agency. Generally it's USDA, so it's a taxpayer's money, or if you're working in industry, then you're answerable to industry to show progress. So when I'm choosing student, yes, I look at their academic record, but I look at whether they have relevant experience. So that is very important. So yeah, so those are a few options.
And ma'am, how would it be if we do masters in India and go for PhD resources in other countries? And do we need to give GRE for them?
So as I explained earlier, generally US University required GRE. For now it's waived in some universities, especially in my university I know that it's waived, but it may come back. And yes, you can apply at any stage after doing bachelor's or after doing master's or after doing PhD as a postdoc.
Yeah, ma'am, but if we do a master's in India and after that we do high studies in other countries, so it would be a good idea or something.
Again, it depends. If you are getting an opportunity right after bachelor's, and if your aim is to study in outside countries, go for it. You know, so it's okay to do that. You know, like in my lab, students are either doing directly, masters after coming from India or some other countries, or they have done masters in their home country and doing PhD in my lab. So it really depends. There is no certain formula for that. Because you didn't want to type the question which you didn't hear.
you have to have, if you don't have an assistantship or if you don't have a teaching, teaching aid kind of thing, then you have to manage your expenses. You have to study, food for yourself. You have to take care of groceries and everything. So it's a whole lot of different experience than when you're studying in India and your parents are literally taking care of everything that you need. And maybe just go outside and have food. It doesn't look like that. Like when you're coming here, you have to know how to. You have to plan your day around everything, around your classes, around your assignments, around your part-time jobs, and projects. And then you also have to feed yourself. You also have to make sure you're getting groceries. So it is a very wholesome experience in terms of that. But yeah. This is what our reality look like. And for exams, I think in universities here they have access to research papers and books that you will need, and the professors are very kind. They provide you with everything that you need for that particular course. So it works out. And I think another good thing here is if you have questions, you can schedule hours with the professors. You can go ask questions. Every professor most of the time has a TA, and if the professor is not available, you can schedule hours with the TA and ask questions. Even if you post your exams, you can ask them questions. What did you do wrong? What did you do better? So I think this was a very great experience.
Yeah, I think I talked about my experience actually in Thailand and in US. So I think I'm just looking at the date, and I think probably in 2003 on today's day, I started in Thailand my master's study. So Thailand was a different experience. That was an international institute, with students from all over the world, all the Asian countries, European and even American. Their master's program was like a compact, master's program. It also had research part in it. Again, like daily routine was classes, labs. Compared to US or Thailand is more like India, in the sense that there is a lot of services, like food was cheaper to eat outside, and there were options in the campus for different types of cuisine because of the international nature of the institute. But again, managing on your own things, figuring out new country, that was a little bit challenging. Exams and study materials. It was very interesting, to see how there is no just one textbook, and how the different ways of teaching the course. For example, I remember my food engineering professor from Thailand, Professor Dapoli. He had final exam as open book exam, and he said, "Caddy, how many ever books you want?" And people really packed suitcases with books, and they will bring it to the class, and the whole day they will be sitting there, and still they won't be able to find answers to the question that was asked. So, that was something new for me. Open book exam, we can look at book, why do I need to study? But no, you need to open book exam are the most difficult exam, because the professor is really smart, that they know that, students really need to think on their own, even if the books are there. Books can be just as a guiding material, but you have to really understand the material to answer that question. So that was my experience in Thailand. Again, research was part of my curriculum, so research was there. I had to finish it in the required time. I had to go find locals. Like my research was on shrimp, so I had to go and find a local vendor, talk to my classmate who could speak Thai, take her to the market, and have her communicate with them to get the things materials that I needed. So that was a different experience compared to US, where again when I came to US, I had assistantship again. So from day one, I was working on the project. I knew what exactly I was going to do. So again, professor said, since it's your first semester, take a couple of courses, don't take too many courses, because you have to manage your research, you need to help me in teaching, and take new courses. So I took a couple of courses in the first semester again. It was an eye-opening experience. And again, not in just, so my department was bio and ag engineering, and my minor is in food science. So, I never took any courses in food science department or more courses in biological engineering. I took more courses in mechanical engineering and mathematics department because my research was related to that. So, it's not just I have to do this course and this thing, because my research was that. So I had to do courses in mechanical engineering. My minor became mechanical engineering. So there is not a fixed rule, for everything. It really depends. And again, over there, my generally even my graduate student schedule is, the classes are mostly in the afternoon or evening, or sometimes they can be in the morning. But because graduate students sometimes over here are the students who are already working, so sometimes classes can be in the evening to accommodate them. But if not, you have to take some other courses. So attending courses in the day and then conducting your research. And our day used to start at 10:30, and then we used to stay up until 12, 1 o'clock, however long, to work in the lab, because in the evening there was no distraction, not a lot of undergraduate students or anybody traveling, so we can concentrate work in the lab or on our computer. So work till late hours, which is not ideal, but that's how our schedule was. And I keep telling my graduate student to follow regular routine, but they also end up doing that. But that's the graduate student lifestyle. And again, as Garima said, especially in the US, you have to do everything by yourself. People sometimes even build their houses, So it really, if you want to do things by your own hand, you can do it over here, you're not dependent on anybody. And another thing is, it's expensive to be, dependent on somebody, because in India, services are cheap. Over here, they are not. So generally, people tend to do their own stuff, cooking, if you can eat out, but it's not always healthy, or it can be expensive, especially for a student. So you will learn how to cook, you will make friends, so it's a nice experience. You're staying away from home, so you will try to make friends as your family. Thank you for having us, and our best regards to everybody in Dapoli. We are here, because our foundation was strong in Dapoli. So all the gratitude to all the professors, and I'm sorry I've not taken a lot of people's name, but all of them, we are always thankful.
thing, thank you for having us and giving us this opportunity to talk to the students. And it was so good to see the campus go all over again after so many years. So good to see you all.